everyone, welcome back to another edition of FSI's PGA Preview. I am joined with John this evening. John, how are you doing?
I'm doing good. Here at the house, we got a new puppy, and we got the cat on video this week. So
Cat napping, I love it.
oh, good. He probably won't move the whole time. He'll be just stuck right there. It's a safe spot away from the puppy, so it's good. How about you? How are you doing?
Doing good. Sweating a little bit of Monday Night Football right now. I got to line up in the top 2,000 in the Monday Night Showdown contest.
Nice.
Hopefully, by the end of this recording, Jared Cook catches a touchdown, and I'm 500 grand richer. But most likely,
I'll be all right with that.
Most likely, I'm not. But U.S. Open was pretty fun, pretty ugly and brutal. We had some guys make the cut and end up finishing in negative points on Yahoo, and we had some guys that made the cut and only scoring 4 points on DraftKings. So awesome. Glad it's over.
It was nuts. Yeah, I had two guys that missed the cut outscore Munoz in a line, and he made the cut. And then, had some Bryson, didn't sprinkle enough of him, I guess, but we were all over Zalatoris, DJ, Wolf. We had a lot of players on the leaderboard in our course, so it was we were right where we needed to be. We just missed out, like most people did, on having enough Bryson.
Right, and Bryson, the big driver in GVPs, and like you said, 9K. A lot of people that did play him, the small percentage that did, definitely benefited. I had 1 6 of 6 through. I want to like claim to fame my 1 6 of 6 lineup in the U.S. Open. I think that's my first time in like 6 years of PGA DFS that I've had a 6 of 6 in a U.S. Open. So loving that. But yeah, like you said, Zalatoris, Wolf, DJ, we had a lot of great plays. I was all over Wolf and GVPs, and it really paid off. But got stuck with a lot of clunkers like Reeve, Streelman. But you'll have that in the U.S. Open, and I'm just glad it's over. We're going to get into some swing seasons golf now with some birdie fests, and all this is going to lead up to the best tournament, maybe one of the best spectacles in sports, the Masters. So let's get us kicked off to where we are this week. This was formerly a Corn Ferry Tour tournament, you were telling me. So where are we at this week, and what are we up against?
Sure. So we'll go over it here. Certainly check at the No Mulligans article that will be up, giving a little more detail on the course and the event, the field and such. But yeah, this event is played in the Dominican Republic. This is the Corrales Puntacana Resort and Club Championship. That is
Say
a
that
mouthful.
3 times fast.
So yes, playing in Dominican Republic. This is definitely going to be a birdie fest. Each of the last 2 years, 18 under par was the winner. The big thing we're looking at this year versus previous years is this used to be an alternate event. Now the PGA Tour is giving full FedEx Cup points for it. So guys are certainly interested in playing this event that wouldn't have otherwise. We don't have the best field here. Obviously, we just got off of the U.S. Open. Not a lot of guys want to travel down to the Dominican Republic here for just the 1 week. So not the best field out there, but certainly some interesting plays, some guys that will be excited to play and be on here. The course itself, this is the Corrales Golf Course, 7,600 yard, par 72. The Pass Palm greens we don't see very often. So really, I'm not factoring in very much putting at all this week. Certainly not like a specific putting surface. Just there's so few rounds that get played on this surface per year that trying to factor in those rounds is not really worth it. So maybe a little shots gained putting, but not specific to the grass type. I am looking, though, at ball striking and approach like most weeks. Driving distance this week, certainly looking at the past leaderboards. Those who are getting it out far are getting an advantage. And really good drives gained seem to be even more eventful for guys who are getting more good drives gained, tend to find their way up the leaderboard here. So greens in regulation, shots gained par fives as well. So we got 4 par fives. All of them are very gettable. Definitely looking at guys who can get us a lot of birdies there. And then in general, just birdie or better percentage. That's going to be critical this week with it being so low scores. So that's about it on the course. I looked at the weather. We're actually surprisingly almost no wind. This is typically, it's a coastal course, so it gets a bit more wind. I think it's just due to the time of year. Normally this event is played in March. We have moved now to September. So I think that's factoring in a bit on the weather. Maybe some early week rain followed by just dry and some pretty easy conditions, I think. So we should see some good scoring.
Yeah, it's going to be a birdie fest for sure, and I can't wait. I'm tired of seeing bogeys on the scorecard. We saw some astronomical numbers last week. I'm hoping for some reverse scorecards with some birdies and some points being scored by my golfers and not negative. So, really love the good breakdown. As always, check out John's No Mulligans article, big key fixture into our research going in and week out. Going to give that a good read when I get done here. As we record, John posts right after we record. So make sure you catch the video. Please like and subscribe as always. But John, let's get into the guts. Let's get into some picks. We got a 10K range. We only got a couple golfers, but which one is your guy?
Sure. So yeah, jumping right into the top of the leaderboard. But for me, I played him last week. Huge success. I'm not going to stop now, and that's Will Zalatoris. Zalatoris is not a household name. This is a Korn Ferry Tour player. Very amazing to see a Korn Ferry Tour guy being not only the highest priced golfer, he is also the betting favorite right now in Vegas. So we talked about it last week. Get on Zalatoris now before everyone else is on him. Well, everyone already caught up. It only took 5 days or so, and everyone is on him, including Vegas. So yeah, he's priced up 10-9. I don't mind the price a lot, only because usually the highest priced golfer in the field is 11K, 11.5, every once in a while 12K, something like that. So for 10-9, that's not outrageous. Obviously, for a guy that's pretty unknown, it seems outrageous, but I think that'll help his ownership quite a bit this week. He finished T6 last week at the U.S. Open, which is not showing on any of his logs here on DK. I will absolutely take that. Anytime we see a guy with one tournament, one T6, that's instant ownership from the fish, and I'm okay with it not showing on here right now. But yeah, he was T6 last week at the U.S. Open. If we look at his Korn Ferry Tour results right before that, T18, T5, T19, second place, sixth place at that ugly U.S. Open. I mean, this is a guy who can really play golf. Unfortunately for him, he's kind of stuck on the Korn Ferry Tour level because of COVID. The way to jump up into the PGA Tour is not the same as it was previous years, so he didn't quite get to make the leap like your Hovland did last year. He didn't get to play through that Korn Ferry playoff just to qualify. So he could be on the Korn Ferry for another year if he doesn't take advantage. But I could see him winning an event like this or the Bermuda Open or something like that, getting his tour card. I would love to see that. But for now, Zalatoris is a very good play. If looking at his stats, 5th in ball striking, 7th in approach, 6th tee to green, 2nd greens in regulation. These are all over his last 36 rounds. So the dude can play. I'm not going to shy away from him at all this week. I'll play a lot of Will Zalatoris. What about you? Who do you like right at the top here?
Yeah, I gotta agree with you on Zalatoris. Definitely gonna have some ownership. I'm definitely not gonna take the victory lap. That was your guy from the start. Definitely following along with you on this play, and I think that's a really good story to see. Probably something like Morikawa, Hovland, where Wolf, where he comes out, you might win an event like this. So definitely gonna want to be on that before everybody else jumps on. So I couldn't agree more. My guy here is going to be Burns. I know Connors is right there too. He's got some, maybe you can elaborate on Connors a little bit, but I think Burns 3rd in the model, 5th in bogey avoidance, 2nd in par 5s, 5th in greens gained, 1st in DK points. He's just probably one of the top 10 golfers in the field. He's definitely priced like it. Definitely a preferred surface for putting on Bermuda, but Papsalm is kind of similar. He did finish 12th in this event last year. So even I believe he was playing in this event last year. It wasn't the Puerto Rico Open, as some may confuse the two courses because of where they fall in line in the year. But he's 13th at the Wyndham and 32nd at 3M, 17th at the Safeway, or no, he was 7th at Safeway. He gained 7.5 tee to green and 3.1 strokes on the approach. So Sam Burns, really good play. I think in this field you could play him and have no worries about the 10-1 price tag. I mean,
Yep.
you're typically paying 7K for a player like Burns, but this is a field where when you get down to that 7K range, you're going to understand why Sam Burns is 10,000. So
Yep.
I'm not going to be afraid of that price tag. Obviously, there are guys that are going to be a little cheaper, a little bit more known, and a little bit similar to someone like Sam Burns that are going to be a better play for cash games. But certainly for GBPs, Sam Burns has winning upside. Sam Burns has top 5 upside, and I'm not going to be afraid to roster him at that price.
Yeah.
Other than that, do you got a guy here in this 10K range that sticks out?
I mean, honestly, I really like both Mackenzie Hughes and Corey Connors. I like all 4 of these guys, to be honest. And with the pricing, don't know that I can get overweight on all of them versus the field. So I'll have to kind of trim it down, maybe just kind of pick based on ownership if I'm really liking them all this much. Come Wednesday evening, kind of base it on ownership. But yeah, Corey Connors might be my favorite here, really 10-6. The stat model just loves this guy. Over the last rounds, he's number 1 ball striking, number 1 good drives gained, number 1 tee to green, 3rd on approach, 5th on par 5 scoring. Pretty much every single stat we're looking at, he is top 5 in this field. He did miss the cut at this event in 2019. He was T13 the year before that, so he is very familiar with the course. He missed the cut at the U.S. Open as well. That doesn't scare me off too much. He had some good finishes before that, playing in tough events. 33rd at the BMW is really solid. Top 25 at the Northern Open, the Northern Trust, another solid round. So between the stats and having some good course history, I do like Corey Connors. Mackenzie Hughes, though, is really interesting as well. He played really well here last year, I believe 2nd place to Graham McDowell. And so, yeah, I'm going to see what I can do to fit all of them. It's obviously not going to happen, but I don't think any of these guys are just absolutely wrong here at this price.
Right. I'm gonna have to agree. Corey Connors is definitely going to be in my lineups. He's in my lineups most weeks. So specifically going to stick to him. If I find Zalatoris is going to be over 30% and Connors is going to be less than 15, I think you know where I'm going to go. I think I'm going to go heavy on Connors, but I would certainly understand if you played both.
Yeah.
With that being said, let's get into some 9K. Go ahead and pick your guy since you're the. I think we're both going to be thinking of the same person, but you won the one and done again. Spoiler alert! So I'll let you go. I'll let you lead here.
As we ran our stat model, I think we kind of ended up with some similar guys popping up. So I certainly like this week Sepp Straka. So he rates out number 1 on par 5s. He's 7th on birdie or better. He does not have the best form coming in right now, but Sepp Straka is a guy that we trust in events like this to come out. He's a good driver of the ball. I think he is going to be more consistent than some of the other guys in this range as well. So, yeah, Sepp Straka certainly jumped out to me as a top choice. Were you kind of falling in line with that as well?
Yeah, definitely falling in line with him because of that first in strokes gained par 5s. It seems like Straka is getting eagles at any point in time on any course, and he's really good on the birdies or better. So he's going to score a lot of DK points, and maybe he doesn't. He's the kind of guy that can score 100 DK points and still finish in like 20th. So it's like that's the kind of guy I'm looking for in cash games. Just high DK scoring value. And that's like Sam Burns gets a lot of eagles and birdies. Like that's what I'm really targeting. So other than Straka, the only other guy that I can think of that can put up birdies and eagles in bunches is probably Grillo. I know this is like the most vomit player on like the PGA DFS industry. Absolutely no putter, but I mean, the ball striking is unbelievable. 5th in the approach, 2nd in ball striking, 6th tee to green, 16th in your good drives, and finished 26th at the Safeway. So there's some relative form for Mr. Grillo. I see that he had 2 top 10s recently as well. So, 50th last year in this event, I think Grillo certainly in play in your lineups, even at that 9A price tags. But I would only leave it for GPPs. as Grillo has the tendency to
Yeah,
finish dead last
he
or
can blow
top
up.
five. Yeah, so do not roster Grillo in cash no matter what. So,
Yeah,
uh,
I certainly like the Grillo pick here. And then
yeah,
I might dip down to Pat Perez a little bit too. He interests me a little bit. Somebody that's been around in a while and can play well at some of these events. And Adam Long, I might sprinkle in
yeah,
a bit of Adam
yeah.
Long too, but don't
I
love
thought of it.
this range all that much.
Now there is one elephant in that room, and that's Stenson. Were you
Yeah.
going to roster any Henrik Stenson? I feel like he's going to be popular at 9.5.
My model says to pick him, but the recent results tell me otherwise. I don't think that his game is right now.
No.
Missed the cut at the PGA. He has not been playing super good golf. So me personally, I'm gonna take another week off and maybe he gets his game right here.
Yeah, I'm going to let everybody else play him, and I'm going to watch. That's where I'm at. And if Stenson beats me, Stenson beats me. But I'm not gonna roster a golf. Like I know he can hit the ball well. I know he can score, and I know he can win. And that's what
Yeah,
everybody's going to tell you. Oh, Stenson can win. Stenson's clear best player in the field, and he is. There's no doubt about it. But I don't think I'm with you. I don't know where his golf game's at. The pandemic, he's been sitting for a long period of time. Came in, missed the cut at the PGA. I have no idea where Stenson's golf game's at. So I'm just going to leave it at that. And I'm going to go with guys that I know what to expect, and I've seen some form to know what they're capable of in this coming week. So
yep.
okay, glad we're on the same page with Stenson. We'll dip down into this 8K range. Um, I'm going to talk a little bit about Charlie Hoffman, 8,900. I think, this is another golfer you kind of look at like Sepp Straka, where you're thinking, I just need the birdies and the eagles and the high DK point totals, and I'll let the chips fall where they may on your finishing position. Hoffman has a tendency to start fast, so I do like him for early showdown pick, as an early showdown pick. Definitely a guy that, I love picking for the first round leaders, things like that. Finished 56 at the Safeway, fourth in the model, sixth on the approach, 18th ball striking. And it's funny to think all these things because, Charlie Hoffman probably wouldn't sniff a top 10 statistic in a good, decent field. But this is how bad the field is. And that's what makes
Yeah.
these prices on these golfers understandable, is that the back end of this field is so bad that players like Charlie Hoffman and Sam Burns are statistically the best players in the field. So
Sure.
I'm not afraid to roster Charlie Hoffman. What about you in this 8K range?
I do really like the Hoffman pick. I think he's a pretty clear choice for me as well. I also am going to take some Henrik Norlander. I've been
Yo,
known
boy.
to pick on him quite a bit. Yep, absolutely. Everything but the weird photo on DK. His photo, especially on the app, he doesn't have shoulders. It's just his face zoomed in, and no one else's photos. It always freaks me out a little bit. But yeah, Henrik Norlander. I play him a lot. He's number 4 ball striking, 5th tee to green, 9th in the good drives gained, 8th in greens and regulation. So the model really loves him. He's got some decent finishes over the last while too, including that top 10 back at the Memorial. So I'm going to be playing a good chunk of the Swede here this week as well. But I really like the Charlie Hoffman pick. I'll also play a little bit of we played him a couple weeks ago, and that's Joo Young Kim. We played him mostly on Showdown. He was having a fantastic week. This is showing his PGA Championship, not his Safeway numbers. I believe it was that. But he's the youngest guy in the field. He's 18 years old, South Korean. This kid can play. He was the one that the pricing was all messed up on between the sites. They had him in twice with 2 different names. They were calling him Tom Kim or something.
Tom Kim, yeah.
Once they had it figured out, we were playing him in Showdown. He was scoring us lots of points. So I'm going to end up flocking back that way just a little bit. I think he'll be super low owned, obviously without any of the logs here. People aren't going to be on him. These are the types of guys that we love playing in this swing season because no one else is playing this guy that's 0 of 1 cuts made. These are 20 average fantasy points. These are the guys we're going to get at 2% ownership that are worth a whole lot more than that. So I'll play some Kim this week.
Yeah, I like the Kim play. Definitely somebody like, because if you look around on this name, Bryce Garnett and Kyle Stanley and Brian Stewart, like I know what to expect with those guys, but I also don't. I also know that they can't win. And when I look at someone
Bryce
like
won this event.
Kim,
Bryson won this event.
Did he really? I
Yeah,
just
former winner.
shoved my foot right in my mouth. Well, he can't win.
That was
now.
his last win, I think.
Yeah, that was probably his only win of his career.
I think so. Two years ago at this event, he took home the championship.
You know what? He probably came into that event with no form too. So
correct.
That just tells you about this event. But I think Stanley, Rogers. I don't expect those guys to pull out victories, but I do see someone like Joo Kim, finishing top 5 and potentially winning because of how well he can strike the ball. These guys coming from the Corn Ferry Tour, any kind of random tour, like you get the Latino Americas and the Asian tour guys coming over here too in the swing season. Definitely guys that nobody knows, like you had mentioned. I like the Joo Kim pick. The only other play in this 8K range I would consider would be Luke List, based on his ball striking numbers. It appears that I am totally reverting back to Team No Putt here this week with the Straka, the List, and the Grillo mentioned. Yeah, so
he's
like
the captain of Team Can't Putt.
It's like I'm never on Team No Putt, but for some reason this week I'm really digging the ball striking numbers, because I think that's going to be beneficial. With the easy scoring that we're about to see. I think the proximity to the hole, is going to be a real difference maker when it comes to being able to make birdies. So I don't mind. You can't mind List in that mindset.
No, well, and the course is kind of set up for this type of golfer because it's not tree-lined fairways. They're pretty wide open. They're pretty easy to hit. The roughs are pretty short. So guys who can just basically do what Bryson did this past week and hit it really far and then just have a chip shot in are going to have an advantage over the guys, even if they're in the fairway here. We're not looking at fairway numbers like we did last week, but again, this week it really doesn't matter quite as much.
Yeah, that's why Straka just sticks out. So, that'll wrap things up for 8K. Now, this next range is far and away my least favorite range, but there are some guys that are worth mentioning. I'll let you lead and go ahead and give us some of your favorite 7K plays.
Sure. Graham McDowell's in here. He won the event last year. Might end up playing him. We'll see. I think the ownership might be a little higher on him just because of being the past year's winner. But I'd probably rather play some Johnny Vegas. Johnny Vegas is known to be really good off the tee. He's 8th in ball striking, 9th in driving distance, 5th in birdies or better. He's another guy, like you mentioned, that has a chance at first round leader type bets. Now, the form is not good. I'll admit that. But Johnny Vegas is the type of guy that can excel on a course like this. He actually tends to excel on these types of events with poor field, low scoring. I think he's going to be a guy that could win some tournaments here, lower owned. So I'll play some Johnny Vegas this week. Probably one of my favorite picks, just like you said, though. It's not a great range to be picking from.
Yeah, not at all. I actually like the range we'll talk about next more. The only guy in this range I found worth it, other than maybe a flyer on Will Gordon, is Chris Baker. 7th in the model, 6th in bogey avoidance, 8th tee to green, and 8th in his good drives. One of them model poppers, really good strokes gain numbers, really good with the approach, and he keeps the ball in the fairway. So Chris Baker, definitely not a guy you want lined up at, say, the Memorial or the Wyndham Championship, but definitely a guy you can feel confident in, here in the Dominican Republic, just firing at pins. So Chris Baker, they call him the birdie maker. I'll go ahead and take him. But other than that, I'm pretty set on this 7K range. I'm talking minimal exposure here.
I mean, Bryce Garnett, like I said, another former winner on the course is at least interesting, I would say.
I'm so anti-Bryce now.
Yeah. if there's one other guy that I kind of gravitated to in the research, that's Cam Percy. He's had some decent outings here, the 25 at the Barracuda. I think this is definitely not showing all of the logs. There's one other log here missing. But yeah, Cam Percy is a guy that can pop on a course like this. I'll be interested to sprinkle a little bit of him in here.
His strokes gain numbers are always out of this chart. Like what? Cam Percy's like 2nd in greens gained. It's like, no, that can't be right, but it is. You never understand, like, how does he not finish higher in tournaments? I don't understand. So
Sure.
maybe it's just one bad round, so maybe definitely a showdown pick for Cam Percy. I like that. But that'll wrap things up for me in the 7K range. Anything else you want to add, or are we good to move on?
No, I think we're good. I think the dog just knocked over the router, so I'm surprised I still have internet for now. But apparently I do, so we're good.
All right, we'll truck along.
We're going to keep going. Hopefully it doesn't go out here. But yeah, let's jump into the 6K. I know you're excited to talk about a few guys. The first one kind of up at the top that popped out for me, Josh Teeter. He's not a household name. The form is just kind of okay coming in, but he scores really well on the par fives, 6th in opportunities gained. So I be playing some Teeter here. Who's your favorite kind of up at the top?
I was going to talk about Bahatia at that 6'9", the 18-year-old. He's got no made cuts on the season, but from the logs that you see, he has no made cuts. But he did just finish 9th at the Safeway Open. He did come in with the 26th on the approach and 38th in ball striking. Bahatia, did he get his card after that top 10?
I don't think so. I think he's probably still playing as either amateur or he's probably got sponsors.
He's getting sponsors.
Exemptions.
He is other than our boy Kim. This is another one of the youngest guys in the field.
Yeah.
And you're getting a 1,300 discount in salary. I think if I'm going to be more heavily invested in any of these guys that are coming up, I think it's going to be Akshay Bhatia. But other than that, I got a couple guys I can just rattle off. You got Chase Seifert, Epic Barnrot, Martin Laird. What do you think about Graham DeLette?
He's off the charts in my model. Obviously,
yeah, that's why I was going to bring him up.
The form is pretty bad right now, though, so I don't love that. I kind of dug into him a little bit. Yeah, I think the issue is the form. When you're looking at last 36 rounds, last 75 rounds, whatever you put it at, all this is going to come before his time off. So he took a very extended time away from golf. And so that's why you're going to get stats from when he was playing well from multiple years ago. That's kind of my issue here with DeLette. If you're looking more just short-term form, he doesn't pop nearly as much in the models. So I'm less likely to go with him. More likely to pick on, like you said, Chase Seifert interests me quite a bit. Grayson Murray, I could get behind just a little bit here. The guy who leads the field in shots gained on this course is Kelly Kraft. Nobody knows who Kelly Kraft is, but he always tends to pop up here at this event. So I'll sprinkle a little bit of him in as well. That's probably it for my favorite guys. We'll see as the week moves along. We might end up on a couple others, but that is probably my favorites here in the 6K.
So the last guy we'll talk about here in the 6K is a guy that randomly popped in the model. I did some research. He's played the course twice. This is John Merrick, total punt, GPP dart. He finished 52nd in this field. I know you can't. You're scrolling. You can't even find him. 52nd in this field last year, 6,200, and he came in 28th in this field, 28th in this event in 2018. Just like everyone else in this range, got no course or no recent form to back on, but he is 34th in the model, 18th on the approach. This guy was first in your model for greens gained. First, no way, and 36 ball striking. So clearly this guy can't putt, and this just falls in line because that's the only other explanation to why he can't finish a cut and finish a top 10. So this has got to be part of the team no putt this week. I'm going to go in with some John Merrick and some GPPs. But yeah, I feel safer with the strokes gain numbers from John Merrick than I would who else? Is it Dickie Pride in this field?
Kelly Kraft.
Kelly Kraft at least had an injury. I mean, what happened to him, but I'm not going to certainly roster Robert Garrigus and now watch him win.
No, a lot of guys down here don't want to play, so.
No, that'll wrap it up, though, for 6K. We'll pop into our one and done segment. John, another one-stroke victory. I'm getting real agitated here. I
I'm
don't know
beating
how
you,
many times.
but the money is not adding up.
No,
It's really not. I think
it's close.
like 10,000 one week, and it was like 40,000 the other week, something like that. It's not much.
One stroke.
One stroke. I mean, we both actually were right on it last week.
No, we were
sixth place and fifth place. So
we
definitely
really hit it good last week.
Yeah.
Just the
So for
lineup
me,
making wasn't it?
yeah, just a couple missing pieces.
Mm.
For me, with all these guys up at the top, I'm interested to play any of them. To be honest, I think I probably feel safest playing Mackenzie Hughes. So I'll take Mackenzie as my one and done. The course history, the form going kind of through the playoff events that interest me a lot more than the other guys up at the top here.
Nice. I was contemplating someone like Straka, but the more I think about it and the more relevant I feel I'm gonna need to get on golfers, I'm gonna go Corey Connors here.
Sure.
I feel like Corey Connors has a better chance of winning, and I just know Corey Connors is just a far and away better striker of the golf ball than most people in this field. So I'm gonna have to go with Corey
Agreed.
Connors.
Yeah, it was tough. I liked Corey too as one of my final choices.
Yeah, both Canadians too. How about that?
There you go.
Team Canada this week here in the South America. But well, that'll wrap things up for us for FSI's PGA preview. The Corrales Puntacana Resort Club Championship Edition. The swing season, I feel like, is finally underway after this U.S. Open. It feels if NFL's going and it's starting to get into its meat, and now it feels like the swing season. Now we're going to start clamping down on these contests and start bringing in the money like we did last year in this time of year. So really looking forward to it. John, you got anything last to add for the Corrales Puntacana?
I think that's it. Go check on my internet. Hopefully they didn't break too much behind me here.
No, I heard some crashing going on.
That was the router.
That was the router. Okay. So no, I still see the recording going, so we're good. But should be all right. All right, John, that'll wrap things up. As always, everyone, let's get going. Everyone like and subscribe our videos. It's always appreciated. And everyone have a good night. See you.
Peace.